All right, let's get right into it. Today, we're going to break down the 5 absolute core principles that any technician worth their salt needs to have down cold before they even think about touching a vehicle's suspension. Seriously, this is the foundation of doing the job right and doing it safely. So, let me kick things off with a question for you. Think about it. What's the one system, the most critical one, that's keeping a car glued to the road when things get sketchy? You know what it is? It's the one you can't even see working. Yep, the suspension. It's just doing its thing, silently, all the time. But let me tell you, when it decides to fail, the results can be absolutely devastating. So here's our game plan. We've got 5 key principles to cover. First, you gotta know your parts. Second, safety is everything. Third, we'll talk checklists. Fourth, using the right fluids. And finally, finishing the job like a pro by servicing, testing, and documenting. All right, kicking things off with principle number 1. Know your components. I mean, it's pretty simple, right? You can't fix what you don't understand. This is ground zero. You have to start here. So, the heart and soul of any suspension system? It's the springs. And they basically come in 4 main flavors. You've got your coil springs, leaf springs, torsion bars, and air springs. And believe me, each one is a totally different beast with its own unique ways of braking. And check this out. Here's a perfect example. Let's look at the 2 you see most often. On a regular car, a coil spring might just crack. Simple enough. But on a heavy-duty truck with leaf springs, oh no, you're looking for totally different things, like a single leaf snapping or a shackle pin seizing up. Same job, wildly different problems. And that really drives the point home, doesn't it? Knowing this stuff isn't just for passing a test. If you can tell the difference between a failing air spring and a seized shock absorber just by the symptoms, well, that means you can nail the diagnosis and stop a major accident from happening. Okay, let's shift gears to principle number 2. And listen up, because this is without a doubt the most important one. Master your safety. Why? Because when you're working on suspension, the things that can really hurt you are completely invisible. I mean, just look at that strut. It looks harmless enough, right? But what you don't see is the thousands, literally thousands of pounds of force just waiting, coiled up inside that spring, ready to explode. That is the invisible danger. The technical term for this is stored mechanical energy. It's this insane amount of power trapped in a compressed spring or a pumped-up airbag. And if you let that out the wrong way, it's not just a pop. It is an explosion. No exaggeration. So how do we deal with it? It's simple. 3 rules. These are non-negotiable. Rule 1, isolate the system. That means letting all the air out of an air suspension first. Rule 2, use the right tools. I'm talking proper, certified spring compressors. No shortcuts, I mean it. And Rule 3, make damn sure that vehicle is secure and stable before you even think about releasing an ounce of that tension. Just read that for a second. Let it sink in. This isn't about being a good mechanic versus a sloppy one. This is about staying alive. If you don't have this safety stuff down pat, every single strut you work on is a roll of the dice with your life. Okay, let's move on to something a little less life or death, shall we? Principle number 3, the inspection checklist. Look, winging it doesn't work. A systematic approach is the only way you're going to catch everything. Honestly, a good inspection boils down to just 3 main things. First, you're checking for wear and tear. You know, wiggling ball joints, checking for sloppy bushings. Second, you become a detective hunting for leaks. Is that shock weeping oil? Is that airline hissing? And third, you're looking for obvious physical damage. Bent parts, cracks, heavy rust. Simple as that. And why is this so important? This quote says it all. You see a little oil leaking from a shock, that's not just a messy part. That means the fluid that's supposed to be controlling the ride is gone. And that means the car won't brake as well, it won't handle as well. You can draw a straight line from that tiny leak to a huge safety problem on the highway. All right, on to principle 4, which is one that people sometimes overlook, using the correct lubricants and fluids. It sounds like a small detail, right? But it's often the difference between a part that lasts for years and one that fails way too soon. It's not a one-size-fits-all deal. You've got specific grease for things like kingpins, special oils just for air suspension compressors, the right fluid for inside a shock, and so on. But here's the golden rule. The only thing you really need to remember. Whatever the manufacturer says, goes. That's the law. No arguments. Just check the specs. And here's the real kicker. Getting this right isn't just about making the car run better. It's about money.
The right grease stops that expensive metal-on-metal grinding. So when you do this right, you're not just doing a repair. You are actively saving the car's owner a ton of cash down the road.
And that brings us to the finish line. Principle number 5. Service, test, and document. Because look, the job isn't over just because you've tightened the last bolt. You got to prove that what you did actually worked, and more importantly, that it's safe.
So, how do you finish like a pro? 3 simple steps. 1. Service everything to spec. That means hitting those exact torque numbers, no guessing. 2. You got to test it. A bounce test is okay, but a real road test is what proves it works under load. And 3. Document it. Write down what you did, what you found, what you recommend. Leave a paper trail.
And this quote, this is exactly why you can't skip the road test. A bolt might feel tight when the car's just sitting there, but out on the road, with all the forces of driving, if it's not torqued right, it can let go. The road test isn't just a nice to have, it's the only real proof that your repair is solid. So I'm going to leave you with this one final thought. When you really master these 5 principles, it kind of changes what you're doing, doesn't it? Every time you finish a suspension job, you're not just signing off on a piece of paper. You're putting your name on it. You're guaranteeing a safe ride for that driver, for their family, for everyone in that car. That's a huge responsibility.